Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular meeting of July the 16th, 2024. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. I just have a couple comments. It was a very productive finance meeting last night. Discussions and decisions were made to aid our township's future. The decision was made to reinforce our policies regarding tax arrears and water sewage arrears. We will now be following the procedures to a T. The discussion of council composition and the ward system was enlightening, and council appears to be wanting a change on both fronts. There will be more information coming on these two matters in the very near future. Last night was a start and is not going to take away the pain and anger of the 17% tax increase. There was good discussion in regards to the provincial and federal monies not coming forward to equal our increasing expenditures. Council chose not to withdraw more from reserves. We all felt we needed to increase our reserves. We have budgeted far too much expense. I really believe we need to continue to work with our staff over the rest of the year to make this process better in 2025. And also, there was no report as far as county council because the county council shuts down for the month of July, so there was no meetings for us. And this past Sunday, I attended the community paddle, which was an outstanding first-time event, and hats off to everybody who was organizing it, and it was really a good day. Moving along, does anyone have any pecuniary or financial interest to declare? I haven't seen none. Let's start with our delegation. Mr. Paul Humper.
Is this right?
Yeah.
First, let me say thank you to the council for allowing me to speak at this evening's event. I'd like to introduce myself. Paul Tucker. I live at 157 Great Mare Lane in Killaloe, and as such, I think I'm representing the ratepayers on Great Mare Lane. We, my wife and I, Jennifer, moved to the area back in 2020, as we had always loved and enjoyed the time we spent in Algonquin and the Eastern Ontario region, and thought it would be a great place to retire. Since moving to Killaloe, we have not seen much in the way of economic development, but have noticed a decline within the village. So we're wondering what the plan is to entice entrepreneurs to come to Killaloe, start a business, and maybe gain some tax dollars through that avenue. While we all realize the ludicrous 17% tax increase is a done deal, what I'd like to know is what's in the rate increase for us? What extra services are we getting? As we currently get none other than using the road system from time to time when leaving the township to shop elsewhere because there is no economic development in Killaloe. And it appears we are on the highest tax, or we are one of the highest tax areas in KHR and around Golden Lake for the comparable properties. While I understand that the majority of this increase is due to previous issues brought on by previous administrations, such as 0% increases over X amount of years, I wonder if there's anybody sitting on this council today that was part of those previous administrations, and if you are, how could you in any good faith allow that to happen? Further to this, I must state how disappointed I was to read that the mayor wanted to make this public knowledge by having an open town meeting, but council voted that down. Sending out a Facebook thread is not the correct approach. What were your plans to advise taxpayers of this rate increase? Well, that's right, you voted to not advise the ratepayers. What is being done to collect the outstanding debts from commercial private property owners? The mayor brought up a decent approach by going door to door and discussing payment options. That, however, was deemed unacceptable for some unknown reason. I was pleasantly surprised at the July 15th meeting that the council made the only logical decision to begin the process of selling properties currently in tax arrears. Certainly not an easy decision, but I feel the correct one. My biggest concerns with the 17% increase are you now creating more customers who cannot pay? What happens next year, since there doesn't appear to be a plan going forward? Is it simply another 17% increase? Why does it seem okay to simply heap this upon the people who do pay? What are their implications for not paying? Up until last night, I didn't see any. And what does this 17% increase do for us? Are we now at a balanced budget? Are we still way behind and running a deficit? Does it get us ahead of the game for next year? Let's talk about water and sewage issues. Again, I realize that nobody wants to be the person who turns off utilities, but a message needed to be sent. I was again pleasantly surprised to see a decision to add the water and sewage arrears to the tax arrears and collect all three upon the sale of the property. Again, another difficult decision, but a logical one. Cost savings need to be found and found quickly. I must admit, while the fireworks display was magnificent, I had a hard time enjoying them because I could only imagine the cost. Cost not only for the fireworks, or for the bands, the entertainment, and the firefighters that worked it. I see that KHR is also helping to fund the songs in the park event. Again, these events are nice to haves, not necessarily need to haves. If we're in such a deficit to warrant a 17% tax hike, maybe we need to invite all ratepayers and non-ratepayers in KHR that such events will be postponed until the deficit's cleared up. I haven't seen any road signs placing weight restrictions on the Queen Street Bridge. Maybe this work could have been deferred for another year, along with the Traymore Bridge. And while I'm sure the county kicks in funding for these types of items, they don't fund it completely. KHR council consists of 7 people. Why? When most other townships only have 5 or 4, there's a cost savings. Again, I know you guys talked about this last night, so thank you for maybe looking at that and coming up with a resolution. I'd like to thank all the members of council for declining the 3% raise you were able to carve out of this year's budget. Maybe the question of cost savings needs to be made to the people of KHR. Maybe there are plenty of good ideas out there, such as the suggestion by Marlene Cool regarding the rain ports and bidding on the surplus ports from another township. Maybe it's time to increase the garbage bag tax to $3 from $2. I don't know. Can any of the vacant properties be refurbished and held by the township and used as rental properties? There's certainly a lack of rental units. Has anyone thought about approaching the county on construction of another facility, such as the Fairfields building in Edenville? Maybe the land can come from us, township surplus land, I don't know. One never knows where the cost savings will come from until something is tried. Is there any way of amalgamating services with the neighboring townships to help reduce costs for all of us? Just an FYI, I googled township Airbnb requirements, and it appears that many Ontario towns and cities are charging a fee to license these short-term rentals. It's just like getting a fishing license. Once you have that fishing license from the province of Ontario, they are no longer liable. I can go out and get hurt during a fishing trip, but I can't go back on them for issuing me a license. What is working in other townships may work for KHR also. It's time to get these delinquent properties sold off and move forward. Likely easier said than done, but it needs to happen all the same. Just like making the hard decisions need to happen sooner rather than later, and simply passing on the burden to the people who do pay taxes isn't the answer, nor is simply creating more taxes to heap on the middle class. Thank you once again for allowing me to express my opinions.
Thank you very much for expressing your concerns. Does anyone have any questions of Paul?
I feel everything that you're saying. I think last night we made some big strides to move forward
Absolutely.
and explain some of the reasons why we have such a big deficit.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like I said last night, there's a lot of infrastructure things that are going to need some money as well. So yeah, it's really crappy being here, especially as somebody new, having to, you know, this year we're left with no choice, and it really stank. Like, it really stank. We know how much this hurts people, and you're absolutely right. There's probably going to be some more people who can't pay their taxes, but yeah, it was a horrible decision that we had to make. Yeah.
The thing that worried me the most, maybe not the most, but, and maybe I'm wrong on this, I could be completely wrong, and fill in for it. But when I read the mayor's Facebook post on your New Eyes, Fresh Eyes on Tax Dollars, and you mentioned that you wanted this to become public knowledge, but the council turned it down. That,
No, I think,
I'm not sure.
All the
Well-
meetings are public now. They are all public. Like, going forward, all the finance meetings will be public knowledge.
that
And
was-
anybody is welcome to come here
I get it.
when we have meetings as well.
we've started, the finance meetings now are all broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's live now, which I think that was a good move, and I think you can tell by the attendance that, and you know firsthand, because you've been at a lot of the meetings, that the crowd that are coming in to watch this is incredible, and the amount of people listening also.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good step in transparency, and I think it has to be.
It has to be. for
You
sure.
know, and today's day and age, you need that. You
Yeah.
have to have it.
Absolutely.
Because we're the guardians of people's money,
Yeah.
and we have to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
And I think you firsthand would know how concerned we all are around this table, and you've heard the conversations we've had, and there's passion, you know, so I think we're moving along the right step. It may not be as fast as what everyone thinks, but we are moving forward. So,
Yeah.
And are you here, this is your second year?
this is
Or
our
is it
second
your
year.
first
Second year.
Second year.
We're in our third year.
So realistically, this was
The second budget.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to clarify on couple of your points is the Traymore Bridge and the Queen Street Bridge.
No,
We had no money input into that. That's strictly county.
strictly county.
Strictly county. Pure.
The
No,
county,
comes from here.
the county owns every bridge, every one.
Okay.
So don't assume that we're putting money into
Well,
that.
yeah,
You know, and we had no choice, and I think we brought this up maybe 2 or 3 times in different meetings. The inconvenience that it would cause when it was gonna happen, because we had the Irish gathering happening,
Yep.
our businesses, and, you know, everybody around this table really felt for the businesses, because that's the main thoroughfare.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, but thank you for your concerns. And next on the agenda, who will be the spokesman for the Wildlife Property Association? Mr. Martin?
Hey, Rob.
Thank you for having us. Our correspondence is in the agenda, so from a while back. I actually have 2 items. I want to talk first on the community, Round Lake dock and ramp. As you know, it started May 21st, so we're almost 2 months. But, first of all, the other thing I wanted to say is I got Scott Gardner here, who deals with the webpage, and Steve Newsom, who deals with the safety issues around forests around the lake. Some like a little, I know you have a new bylaw that was implemented in 2023 to only have one spokesperson, but these 2 people actually have information. They met with Dean and they met with Harold, and so it's a little restricted that you just have me to be able to speak overall to stuff. So hopefully council will, if you have any questions, you'll address those two individuals that aren't allowed to speak now because of the new bylaw that was passed in 2023. The other thing that I watched the last meeting that you had, I just wanted to have clarification that our association didn't ask for a special meeting with council. It's somewhat ludicrous that we would ask for a special meeting for our association to meet. As most of you know, because you follow the chain, it was the mayor who asked for a special meeting. Given financial situations, that isn't something that we would be asking for council to do, and I just didn't want it coming across as it did in the meeting that we were asking for a $2,000 meeting. It just doesn't make any sense that we would do that. So I just wanted to clarify that part. Relative to the email, the letter that we sent, as I said, this goes back to May 21st. We're on May 2 months, and some of the stuff hasn't been resolved yet. But at the same time, when we were talking about having a meeting, we were looking at having it as we've had before, that goes back in history. When we asked for council for a meeting, council gave a delegate and to meet with Dean, who's not here tonight. Way back when we met with Stanley to deal with the dock ramp, and not ramp at that time, but the dock a number of years ago. More recently, we met with the two gentlemen met with Harold and Dean to deal with the situation. So that's what we were looking for. We weren't looking for a special meeting of council. But we also felt that, as the email said, Larry said, we're a community partner in this. We partnered with this council over the years on quite a number of items, to working with the fire chief with the ED machines and different things like that. So we looked at this as a community partnership, and we just wanted to know what's happening. And in the past, somebody has championed our situation on after staff to make sure things get followed through with. As the email said, gave that money in January 2023 to the dock. We gave money in December 2023 to the ramp, and we're still waiting. So we're looking at, we addressed it before as safety issues. We want to know where things are at. We know there were messes. We know that Dean has worked hard with us in the past. And that there were some messes, like why wasn't MNRF permanent started way back when we were talking about this situation. This isn't a matter of jumping on, because things happen, but sorry Dean, this is something that should have been ready to go. And the reality wasn't most of you know, I was a bureaucrat before, to say that the water levels went up too fast. We had people putting their docks in the dry, okay? So this wasn't the water went up so fast that if you're ready to go, and that ramp would have been put in. So what we're really looking at now is let's have some meeting with Dean and Harold and whoever else council designates to meet with us on a time, what's next, and so that we can work collectively on a resolution to this. We've missed it this year pretty well. It's been an issue, and the things that our association work on and contribute money to doesn't just benefit the people on the lake. It's people coming from all over that go to the lake and enjoy the times through that way, and talking and talking about safety. So that's the important part. That's what we're looking for. The next steps, and
discussion, but I think, for sure, we should, as council, get Dean and Harold
Anytime,
to
any
meet.
date, guarantee you will be there. You have some info, like Dean, you can work it, but he hasn't, if you're looking at it, they have it already at the ballot. And we wait for that, I know it was late to get it permitted from the ministry. And we do both at once, the dog and that. So, again, we don't almost guarantee that we get this fall. I know we not about this, so today, more than happy to meet early, so,
Yeah, I think we had some discussions with where that and our working in water with heavy equipment, is an issue, so, if we need to wait till the fall or into next spring, then we need to do that, because, we need to finish it properly without adding coal.
myself, if you look at the fall, then we know.
When we have to draw down,
It's not going to come out overnight. And I know this year, myself, I know it'll come fast. And the problem probably was with the ministry, there was no snow anywhere, they wanted to make sure the lakes wouldn't get filled up fast enough. But, again, it's not an excuse.
Does anyone else have that? Just a couple points. One, we also put money in towards it too.
And so did volunteer.
yeah.
So, like, there's
I
other
realize that. And
partners.
instead of community project, when I say
We-
that, it's involving with
So that
you guys.
we're part of this too. So we wanna see this up and going because it helps our community. And I believe I'm talking to Andy tonight, the engineer has been there, has completed the report. We have not seen it yet. And so we don't know where that's gonna go. And or the cost ramifications. So that's where we are right now. So we're on hold until we get that report.
I guess part of my frustration over time is that backwashing that's occurring there, I had identified that in the past. And it wasn't dealt with, and that's what's costing us money, so when we don't deal with things that, whether you're an engineer or not, and you see things backwashing into the water, and it doesn't get addressed, that's why it's gonna cost us money, so that's part of my frustration. And that, I had identified that in the past, and I don't have a specific date that we did that. But there's, my discussion was not that KHR did not put any money into that. Everything we put a lot of money into, we put a lot more money into the dock than we did to the ramp, and that's much appreciated by people. It's a community safety issue. People, as you know, there's they have, you're in Becker at the Grand Lake Center, people are bowling there, and they're stopping, and there's not enough room for people coming and going and waiting to get down and off, and Steve, our safety person, identified that some time ago. I think that was way back to Stanley, we said, let's get it, because it goes back to 2020. We started that one before the new council, so.
You have another one?
Yeah, the other thing that I have is that, and it was very thought this gentleman tonight about the Tremor Bridge, but you talked earlier about how council was very concerned about business and stuff in the hamlet, as we all are. Things need to be succeeded. So there's been no mention from KHR about the Tremor Bridge renovation or restructuring of that thing. It's our members, it's been on our webpage since back in early June, when we were dealing with the one in Killaloe. We tracked down the one in Tremor and told our membership about it. But there's been no discussion by this council and resources into it. And I don't begrudge resources going into having Dean sort out stuff with the bridge and all the things that happen for business and the community resource center and the senior center in Killaloe. There's a whole pile of stuff that's happening with the Tremor Bridge. And we were originally going to know that it was going to start, because of our tracking, it was originally going to start on August, after the long weekend in August. And I had actually called the Perkins on and said, well, if your contractor is late, we're not upset with that because a lot of our members are around until after the long weekend in September would be really good for us. Now we're hearing that it's gonna start on Thursday. It could be closed. I talked to,
We were actually told it could have been closed as early as yesterday.
yeah.
Last week.
Talked to
Still
Still.
no signs of
And
that.
we,
Well, I talked to,
I just drove past tonight and there was no signs. We just got an email
talked
today.
I just talked to Taylor.
We just got an email today
Yeah.
from Taylor.
And I said, Taylor, knew this was coming, but the sign should have been up. And he said, well, they should have been up 2 weeks ago. I said, there's nothing up. And so, again, from our perspective, we've seen as looking at us as taking us for granted. Where's the energy and the leadership to make sure that issues around the lake are addressed? And this is one that, for business, you've got the Floyd company that has to go across that with equipment. You've got one and Papa's, people from our side from that side of the lake come to get something to eat. It's not that you can get rid of the project from happening. Everybody has a time to think. It's the communication of it. And that we've had it on our webpage since June 6th. There's still nothing on occasion. Tonight was the first time that we heard from you to talk about it. It came from this gentleman first. And we need, you're representing us at the county council. Those things need to come forward. And I remember the lady came when we first came to meet with that. Again, we couldn't speak because only the new bylaw only allows 2 delegations, so you asked us to make comments. The lady there, who made comment that night, was saying, we need information from you there on what's happening in the county. This is a total mess that people don't know extensively about the Tremont Bridge. So I just wanted to address that. I'm hopeful moving forward that you can start to champion some of the things that we want around the lake, because whatever the Groundling Property Owners Association is looking for, it benefits more than just the property owners around the lake, and that's always been our approach as an association since I've been the president, and I look forward to continuing to work with council, as I've said before. I addressed your council way back in 2020, I believe. So I'm past my 15 minutes, so I want to, if anybody has any questions, I'll
You're 14 and a half minutes.
I think you're counting.
You knew I was coming.
Does anyone have any questions for Rob or his group?
So just let me know how it's okay with the rest of the council and set something up and explain what went on and what's going on and what is in the process already, so.
Okay.
Rob, I just like one of those hats, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, have a good night.
Motion to approve this minutes.
Moved by Brian Crosby, second by Harold Levine, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of July 2nd, 2024, open closed session.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Motion to the minutes of the Committee of Justice.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen Miller, motion to approve the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting on July 2nd, 2024, open session.
Questions or concerns? All those in favor? Carried. Fire Chief Bob. You're up.
fire operations since our last report on June 18th. We've only had 2 calls. June 23rd, we had hydrant lines down on Round Lake Road. And on July 2nd, we had a hydrant pole on fire that was also created by a generator which had problems on McCuskey Road. Ongoing activities, weekly truck checks, monthly equipment checks. In recent events, we did a ship truck inspection on June 26th. We had a requested fire inspection on Breaker Bay Lane on the June 27th. We raised those 2 flagpoles at the Round Lake Fire Hall on June 27th. July 1st, we had Canada Day activities. July 4th, I had an inspection of the Pine River campgrounds, which the planning department and I went up there ourselves. Yes, Kate Banner. July 9th, we had a bi-monthly meeting, and July 11th, we had an OFM town hall. Upcoming events, we have an OFM training portal in Pembroke on the 18th. August 9th, there's a wildland fire proposal with M&R from 9 to 11. And the same day following that, it's an Emergency Management Ontario meeting from 11 to 12. There's an attachment in here to show what's going on. We'll get to that in a few moments. September 4th, we'll have the Renfrew County Fire Chiefs Association meeting in Pembroke. September 10th and November 26th, we have bi-monthly meetings. December 4th, Renfrew County Fire Chiefs Association meeting. Now, there's fire safety resources from Community Safety Net. We'll come to that in a minute. There's an attachment. You saw some booklets that I had sent from each end there to the committee. Recent training, we had water supply, porta tanks, high ball pump on June 18th. On the 25th, we did foam, theoretical and practical. And July 16th, equipment maintenance, hose cleaning. That's what they're doing tonight. Upcoming training, dry hydrant scenario around Lake Hall on July 23rd. August 6th, pump training for Wajax and High Ball. It'll be at the Round Lake Hall. August 13th, quiz night. August 20th, extinguishers for practical. September 3rd, radio communications. September 17th, search and rescue house. October 8th, vehicle fire. 15th of October, ground and roof ladders. October 29th, extrication scenario. November 12th, hazmat, panic attack, and chemical suicide. That's not a how-to program, by the way. December 3rd, size-up scenarios, overhaul of parts, and December the 10th, PTE, SCBA, and NOx. On the CEMC side, there's nothing to report for this time period. So if you flip over to the next page, this is your supply of fire safety resources for the Community Safety Net. This is what we had last year. We got some phone calls. I guess we were brief you enough on that. So this year, this is what I'm putting forward to you. The booklet that I passed around were the last couple of copies I had from the 70 that we handed out last year. It's all approved. It's the same booklet that they use everywhere in Ontario. We just changed the name of the township or municipality. The sponsors are listed in the book. Our logo will be placed on the front cover this year. Now, I don't know whether that's the township logo or the fire department logo. We've got these little issues to work out. So before I sign their pro forma letter and get phone calls going, I wanted to make sure that council agrees with this process and we go on with it or advise otherwise.
Anybody have any problems with that?
Well, this is all built into your budget already? Like this
This
comes
costs
out
us
of
nothing.
nothing?
Oh,
Well, that-
look, Robert.
Yeah,
That
they're
was a
great
quick-
for kids.
That was a quick approval.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next page, you see a couple of the title pages that they're covering.
There was a question about this last year. I'm getting older, so my memory's not good. But were we not getting calls, were residents not getting calls from people from Calgary, places in Alberta, about
Yes.
sponsorship? Was this,
That's what the organization's
that's what
headquarters.
this was all about? It wasn't any cost to us, it was just, they were looking for donations, support, that, and I don't think any of us knew, well, we may have known about this, but we didn't know the calls were gonna come from Alberta.
Sure. Okay, so we go ahead with that. All right. Then we have an invitation input on modernizing wildland fire management in Ontario. And they've been looking to revamp the Forest Fire Prevention Act And they've asked for support, volunteers, and whatever else. This has come through in a request to the township. And I put my name down to volunteer to work with the committee and see where we go with that. So that's what the next attachments are. And you can see the agenda starts on August 9th for municipalities. There's different setups for the AMO Northwest and for Northeast Caucus. So unless there's anything you're supporting that, then we'll go ahead and provide our input and I hope it helps with something as a final product.
Yeah,
Sounds
sounds
good.
awesome.
Sounds good.
All right, that's it from my end. Anything else?
Anybody have any questions for Bob?
No, and it's, really Bob, he goes back to the firewall tonight, if you're having a course or something, to, give my thanks to the volunteers who are going to be helping out at Party in the Park,
All right,
with volunteer rec, and they're going to be getting half of it, whatever money they make, they're going to get half of it.
perfect, thank you. I'll let them know.
Well, this is times of firsts. First Canada Day, first council meeting, and also, I had never met someone from Haley Station. And last Friday, at Party in the Park, I met 3 more people from Haley Station. Or not Party in the Park, but Songs.
Song to the park.
And one of the people that I met used to babysit me. Wow, things come around full circle. Well, welcome aboard and go for it.
Yeah, so first, just super excited to be here and looking forward to it. So I guess first item would be Canada Day. I feel like for the circumstances that we're kind of under, I feel like it went smoothly for the most part. Some steps moving forward and look to next year. We'll be keeping the school open till 11 o'clock. I understood there was people who wanted to use the washroom after the fireworks. And the janitor closed it at 10, making it difficult for people to do so. So I think keeping the school open later will allow more time for people to use the facilities as needed and then have more time. I think having the nights come sooner for food is going to be a bigger step. I know the kids were asking for food, parents were asking for food sooner, so having them come 3 instead of 4 might be better. Having new entertainment. Sidewinder is great, but I feel like switching it up is never a bad thing and change is good. I feel like having more entertainment throughout the day, having a different variety of artists, whether that be performance, acts, whatever, I think that's going to be good steps forward. And I think the biggest thing I'm going to touch on is having more activities for kids. I feel like having a more variety, bigger attractions, or not bigger, different attractions. Kids change their minds every 30 seconds, so having more activities is never a bad thing. Irish Gathering update, as we know that's the 15th to the 17th. All the bands are confirmed, all the entertainment's confirmed, sound equipment's confirmed. I chatted with Ray and she has more people running the events to help it go smoother, more efficiently, and yeah, really looking forward to that and seeing the Irish Pride. So what I'm going to hand around is a newsletter from Renfrew Printing. So I was chatting with the Eganville Leader, and they have upped their prices for the bi-monthly newsletter. So Renfrew Printing can offer us a much cheaper price, shipping included, and it's actually cheaper than the original price for Eganville Leader. Now when I spoke with them, they kind of informed me about the price, and they said, hey, look, if you guys want to go look somewhere else, go do so. Being a Renfrew native, I was aware with this facility, and they offered a pretty good price. And if you do feel a bit of a difference, but not much, eh, Brian? And to touch on that as well, we're almost done our newsletter for August, September, and I'm hoping me and Mikhail, who's my assistant, I'm hoping we'll have that done by next week and then early on. So Songs in the Park, this is what I'm really excited about. So this is the first time we've done it outside Killaloe. We're hosting it at Round Lake and the Wilno Heritage Park. Last week was my first time doing it and first time for Round Lake, so that's pretty cool to be a part of. We had a really good turnout, eh, Harold? Like I was really happy with it. To touch on what Dave was saying, so the entertainment, Chloe Bertrand, her mom used to babysit me as a child. So it was pretty cool to see that kind of outcome for full circle. And Chloe's definitely an entertainer that we'd love to have back in the KHR district for sure.
Yeah. What's the cost? It's $200 a night.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a cheap night.
Oh, I agree 100%.
You can't do that.
No, I think that keeping it in KHR instead of Killaloe is something that will go on for years to come. And I feel like being proud of Killaloe and the heritage it brings is being proud of KHR, and there's more to KHR than just Killaloe. So for anyone's information, the next one is going to be in Wilno. And no, it says Killaloe, but we'll call that first council jitters. But no, that's supposed to be Wilno, and it's the Salt Cellars. So the fifth item is going to be quotes for a structural assessment of the KPP barn. Now I've reached out to one and got a response, and then I've also sent emails out to 2 other companies regarding structural assessments, and should be hearing from them by the end of the week. So if you guys look on the second sheet of paper I've given you, it has an MTO list. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I was lucky enough to sit down with an MTO, talk about what all needs to happen in order for us to renovate the KPP barn into a community center, etc., whatever we want to do from there. If you look on the sheet, so he gave us in that MTO sheet is all the required tasks we'll have to do in order to go forward with the renovation. And something to touch on too is for us to make that a community center, we have to shut down the Highway 60 entrance going into the barn. That needs to be completely blocked off. There can be no exit or entrance. And then the rest of the regulations and guidelines there in that list I've provided. So we also have new reading stations coming to Killaloe Pathway Park. That is the order has been confirmed, and the product should be here within 5 to 6 weeks. Public Works have agreed to remove the old ones and put them in storage for further use or repurposing, whatever that may be. And I have thought of promoting beaver tails by putting in like a beaver tail heritage sign with a little woodwork beaver in there. I think that had a good touch to it. Seventh item is the Ottawa Valley Tourist Association promotion. So what they do is they come for an afternoon and they will take scenic pictures of the Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards Township, all that is to offer, all the beauty of it, and they promote that actually on their website. I feel like from an economic development standpoint, that would be a great outreach to get to communities outside of us, to get to greater communities, and to promote saying, hey, come here, look at this, look at how beautiful it is, sorry. So they need a response by June 26th, so if we can get an answer there. July 26th, sorry, my bad. If we can get an answer sooner than later so I can go forward with that, that'd be great. The next one is the trail maintenance for Killaloe Pathway Park. So if you look, I have the agreement in the master plan for the Killaloe Pathway Park, and it states that the township is responsible for the maintenance of the park. Now in here it says the trails need to be trimmed back 1 meter, and for that to be up to code right now, I'm going to say you need 2 feet off on each side, including the reading stations, the fitness trail, all that needs to be trimmed. Especially with new reading stations coming in, the people installing them will have to have sufficient room and not be bugged by that. I don't want this to become a public works issue, as Dean is flooded right now with all the work he has to do. So if we flip to the next page, I was able to find a private worker who has offered to do the work for us. That's how much he's charging, and if that is something we want to move forward with, then we can make that decision. But I understand Bill, the CRC would employ him for the work if we wanted to do that.
I spoke with, yes.
Yes.
However, I spoke with Tammy about us being, or CRC being willing to split that cost.
Yes.
with the township.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. That'd be, we wouldn't expect you, for sure. And that kind of cuts it all up. I mean, if there's any questions, please be free to ask, and I'd love to answer them to the best of my ability.
So I have a question about the OVTA thing. Were you able to find that $250 in your budget? Like, can that be pulled out of your existing budget?
So I'll definitely have to look deeper into it, but I know I do have funds that I can put towards it.
Okay.
It will be a decision with Tammy and further discussion going forward, but I feel like that is something that I would really love to do, and I feel like would benefit Killaloe, KHR, and be a great start into an economic development. Me and Maureen are also planning on hiring a videographer to take scenic videos of KHR as well, and I feel like it'll benefit that and complement that very well.
Yeah, well, and I think too having OVTA do it is nice because they'll use those pictures themselves to promote our township, so I think it's good, but I think you gotta find the money somewhere.
For sure, yeah.
If you can find the money in your budget, I would say, go
So
for
let's
it.
take a pause there for a moment. If there is money in, I guess it would be economic development in that section, would council pre-approve that to go ahead with this?
Is there not a thing,
Sorry?
is there not a,
Miscellaneous?
no, but do we not have something written up to pass tonight on that? Yeah. So,
We have a resolution.
we have a resolution already up for that. To be brought forward.
Resolution for this.
For this, yes.
Okay,
And council
perfect.
voted to pass that.
And
The
let's-
community development budget does have a miscellaneous section, and I believe so does the economic development as well.
So let's hear the motion, or the resolution.
Moved by Carl Keel, second by Ted Brown, that council for the corporation of township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards hereby agrees to participate in the photo shoot delivered by Alva Valley Tourist Association, OVTA, which will promote the beauty and unique charm of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards. And whereas council for the corporation of the township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards hereby agrees to purchase of 150 professionally edited images for $250 that can be used for promotional purposes and which can also be featured, and which will also be featured in OVTA's marketing campaigns, including their website, social media, and printed materials, providing widespread exposure to the town of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards.
All those in favor? Great. Is there a position for this one?
Or,
Return?
I do have one, but I can write on there that CRC.
Sorry, Brian?
Just a comment on the Canada Day event.
Yep.
I understand that it's your first event, and I've heard mostly all good stuff about it, and I attended it myself, and I was very pleased with it. I like your one thing was, I did hear a few comments with more children activities, which I see you're looking at the next year already, which is great. Yeah, it was good. The other thing would be, new band, well, Sidewinder is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not discrediting Sidewinder. I'm not discrediting Sidewinder at all. They're fantastic. I feel like with a new variety, perhaps, and showing people a different side other than Sidewinder, maybe the new band becomes the Sidewinder, right? Like you can't know if something's going to be better if you don't try it, right? And to touch on what you were saying with the kids entertainment is, by the time I came into the role, I think it was pretty much too late to book anyone to come in to make it happen. So I did the best of my abilities with it, and I feel like for the short time I had to plan it, I was happy with the turnout of it, and I feel like everyone enjoyed it for the most part. And there's always things to touch on, but I feel like now we know and we can make it better. So let's do it.
I think they closed down too early. I was there, and they.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I was there, but they were rolling up, and the kids were running around.
Yeah, 7:45. Yeah. So that was pre-authorized from RIJ's, the company that was doing it, to come take it down by then. So next year is just calling them saying, leave it till dark.
Yeah. I think there was 1,000 kids there.
Oh.
Just a couple points on that. And the vehicles traveling through the crowd, I think it was RJ's when they were picking up their equipment and leaving. There was vehicles that were coming through the crowd.
Yeah, it would have been RIJ's and the face painter.
Yeah, they have to be very careful. It needs to be monitored. Someone needs to usher the crowd or the vehicle through, because those kids, they run crazy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
The other item for Canada Day that I wrote down was I would really like to see a police presence, like a couple walkthroughs during, like, from 7:30 till start time. I have a few people complain to me about certain things, and I think just have a presence there, it would be beneficial to what we're trying to promote.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I did see some guys smoking on school property and drinking beer.
I don't want to get into the examples of things that you saw, but I think we just promote what we're trying to.
Yep, no, same page for sure. Yep.
Okay, the next one on my list is the landscaping KPP trail. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No questions, comments.
Comments?
Last year, Chris and I did it ourselves. And we did it once. I don't think it'll need to be done once a month. I really don't. And me and him did it in 4 hours. So I think if we got it done a couple times here, it would be more than enough.
So, so you guys did the 1 kilometer reading trail, the half kilometer fitness trail, and then you did the orchard trail as well?
We did every trail in there with our.
And just whippersnippers, brush hogs type thing? Yeah.
And then there was another volunteer, I just can't remember his name. He brought his 4-wheeler
And then pulled it at the
trails.
That's another item too, is we do have a lot of dirt there in the field right before the trails, and I think that if we can find someone to do that as well and drag it, then I think that'd be a great idea. If you could find that contact information for me, because I would definitely.
That guy just lives downtown, but I would even drag it with my 4-wheeler.
Perfect.
Sometime.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I would be there to help.
It wouldn't take long on us.
No. But yeah, no. I'm glad you said that, because I have no kind of idea how tall you kind of like the grass before it becomes a problem. But I kind of said that as just a base model. But if you said it only needs to happen twice, and I'll go off your word and say that'd work fine.
Yeah, like the first time will be a big one, and then after that it should be pretty simple.
Yeah, because thinking about it, fall, it doesn't really need to cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I'll come with you and volunteer at that too. I'm old, but
And what would you do?
Side by side.
Foreman.
I'll come with the shovel.
I've got 2 whippersnippers and I've got 1 that cuts brush too.
Does anyone else have any questions as far as Cole's report?
No, I just want to say though, you touched on economic development. Well, this is a guy who I think you're going to see some big changes in our township. Colton has a lot of energy and enthusiasm. I really enjoyed getting to know you. And I think there's going to be some amazing things coming up. I feel like we're on the precipice of just some really good, positive change in KHR. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Sure.
I appreciate having you here.
Yeah, it was a very impressive first council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ken. Oh, sorry.
Do you know you're allowed to leave if you want?
Not yet.
Oh.
You can leave.
Okay.
Before you leave. I'm looking at this paper and I'm saying, Cole, we've taken care of the beaver tail situation. Good. Thank you. Okay, so we're examining the accounts now. Anybody have any questions?
2638 Up and Up Studios.
That's our
Website.
I believe.
Okay. That's all.
I have one. I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
26374. I don't know. I never heard of this before.
I've
They
seen-
need
I've
pavement
seen
products?
Calcium.
Huh?
Calcium.
Okay, thank you.
You not remember talking to them in Toronto?
What was the first one, Bill?
It was the website.
Okay. The one previous, 26388.
Uline. That's where we get our bathroom supplies, toilet paper, and paper towel.
Is it E1 or unline?
Uline.
So it's U dash.
No.
else have any questions? Front or back page?
I do, 26402.
Mass Productions Canada Day.
Sounds good.
Oh,
sound system.
is that the sound system and the band rolled into that?
I don't know, I'm telling you.
Just out of curiosity. I think it is. For some.
I have no idea. I'm telling you, I don't have that sheet.
Uh-huh.
I see our plants were a lot cheaper this year than last year.
Oh.
I think they were 1,800 last year, 1,200 this year. That's because we didn't do the bridge or anything.
What bridge?
The one they're tearing down.
Oh, we're gonna get plans for bridge, yeah.
And you gotta plant flowers next year, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Thanks a lot.
Yes, it is, I really performance and audio.
Okay, and audio, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, okay. Does anyone have anything familiar with this? Correspondence. First one, animal advocacy on homelessness encampments. Val, request for support of national basic income. From AMO, policy update, AMO resolution campaign, self-regulations and advocacy updates. Any other resolution?
The resolution is for the campaign, and it's moved by Carl Keel, second by Harold McGee. Whereas the state of healthcare in Ontario is in crisis with 2.3 million Ontarians lacking access to a family doctor, emergency room closures across the province, patients being de-rostered, and 40% of family doctors considering retirement over the next 5 years. And whereas Ontario municipal government is playing an integral role in the healthcare system through responsibilities in public health, long-term care, care medicine, and other investments. And whereas the percentage of family physicians practicing comprehensive family medicine has declined from 77 in 2008 to 60% in 2022. And whereas per capita healthcare spending in Ontario is the lowest of all provinces in Canada. And whereas a robust workforce developed through a provincial sector-wide health human resource strategy with significantly improve access to health services across the province. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of Corporation of the Township of Killoughby-Richards urges the province of Ontario to recognize the physician shortage in the Township of Killoughby-Richards and Ontario, to fund healthcare appropriately and ensure every Ontarian has access to physician care.
All those in favor? Carried. And E, which is the Railway Property Association, which I basically took care of tonight, right? The delegation. And as I said earlier, we just received an email from Gail in regards to Framework Bridge. That was this afternoon, I believe, so with the official date, which will be the end of this week. Bylaws. First one, bylaw number 24.
Moved by Brian Kosky, second by Ted Brown, that bylaw number 24, 2024, being a bylaw to appoint municipal officers and set salaries and benefits for township employees of corporation of of the Township of Killaloe being introduced, given its first, second, and third reading, and finally passed the 16th day of July 2024.
Questions? All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 25.
That moved by Harold Dean, second by Carl Keel, that bylaw number 25, 2024, being a bylaw to authorize the sale and disposal of surplus real property no longer required for municipal purposes for the corporation of the Township of Killaloe, being reduced to given its first, second, and third reading, and finally passed the 16th day of July 2024.
Questions? All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 26.
Moved by Carl Keel, second by Ted Brown, that bylaw number 26, 2024, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a grant contract between His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario and the Corporation of the Township of Killaloe, being reduced to given its first, second, and third reading, and finally passed the 16th day of July 2024.
All those in favor? Carried. Does anyone have any unfinished business? New business. So I have received a email from Lynn Foxtra in regards to Songs in the Park. I just want to explain that earlier, last fall actually, during economic development meetings, Councilor McMillan had a great idea of moving the venues to 3 different locations, and it really was a sense of bringing our events more into the township mode as opposed to everything being in Killaloe. And so it was approved by everybody at the Economic Development Committee, which moved on to council and approved by council. And if there's any indication of how this is working, the first 2 nights have been very successful, and I'm sure Friday night in Wilno is going to be another huge success. So I think it really brings the people of the community together. I think it's a really good situation. Does anyone else have anything to add to it?
Well, I did respond to her and I asked for names of the businesses and I never heard back from her.
Okay.
All the businesses are closed by the time it starts, so I'm not sure where the problem lies.
Brian, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so I read the email too. It wasn't sent to me, but it was sent to you, Dave, and I believe
Me and Bill.
Councilor Brown and Smith. Did anyone respond to her and tell her that KH&R includes Brown Lake and Willow, not only Killaloe? And also to the fact that Ted just said, are there any businesses open in Killaloe Friday night after 6 o'clock? I know for a fact there are in Brown Lake and there are in Willow. So where's her, I don't get her point about the economic development part.
Good point.
The short-sightedness, she's blaming it on us, and it might be on her side.
So I want to just respond. I just want to say, just to remind Killaloe, you get 16 farmers markets, maybe a little more over the course of the year. Canada Day, the Irish Gathering, Taste of the Valley, the Halloween party. We have pickleball here, the plant and book sale. We just had the flotilla, which was amazing. The Tour de Beavertail's coming up. We have the library, and I would say the majority of our community programming happens here. Round Lake gets a car show, and Wilno gets nothing. So the whole idea was just to spread the love. It wasn't to, and I do recognize that the Chip Truck and Beaver Tails are not as busy as they are, and I don't know if that's something that, I don't know how we can help. I think if those 2 businesses can think of a way we can support, if there's something we can do to help, maybe more posts on Facebook saying, hey, businesses are open, or something, like the sign kind of like the sign is like right before, I know you can still drive down there, but that sign is kind of like, to me, a visual detour, like maybe I wouldn't go down there. So I do notice it's not as busy as it is, and I do feel, I know construction like messes with business. So I definitely like recognize
You have to
that.
remember, there's a second chip truck operating in town now, which
Yes,
takes a lot of
yes.
business away from
True.
that chip truck.
True, true.
Plus, one of the
Businesses would have to be open.
No, and I fully support more events happening in Round Lake and Wilno. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
I attended a Songs in the Park a few times in Killaloe, and I think it was last summer. I can't remember the date, but, so I attended one of the Songs in the Park Friday night. I went down to the chip truck or to the Beaver Tails for a snack, and everything was closed.
yeah. And I will say too, there are opportunities, like Vito's in Barry's Bay has karaoke on their patio. I think there are creative opportunities as well that businesses can do to bring people in. So, yeah, because we do have to share the wealth and recognize that we're more, you know, Round Lake and Wilno both exist and they need things from us.
Okay, is there any other comments in regards to this? Okay. We're gonna move to.
Oh, I have one other new business. You know I'm gonna have something. So I would like council to, I would like council's permission to get Dale to go ahead and get us a proper quote for the rink surface in Round Lake. We have to have a quote to be ready to go with any grants that come up, and that rink desperately needs some love. I think it would get a lot of use all seasons if we could get it paved at the very least. And I would just like to have that in hand so that if a grant should come up, we can jump at it. And we don't have one currently, and I think that's what stopped us from moving ahead in the past. So, yeah, I would just.
The only question I have, and I'm all for it, it's just, if we pave that, we have to put all new boards and everything, right?
Yeah, sonotubes, everything.
Yeah, so
I
it's
am
not
all
just,
for it too.
it's not just putting pavement there, that whole rink will have to be redone.
Because of the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the boards themselves, it's the bottom, there is down.
So maybe we need a quote on
We need a
everything,
quote.
whatever you, I would look at you as being the person to say what we need a quote on, exactly.
I know when I replaced it, like I probably replaced 20 boards, and anyone that took it off.
I just brought it up so we don't
Yeah,
put
yeah.
a quote in on pavement and then
No, so
need
maybe
another
we, so maybe we
$100,000.
need a quote, maybe Harold could work with Dale on seeing what we need there, and then we can work on trying to find some grants. And I know the rec committee has a little bit of cash that they'd be willing to put towards this project, and we can figure out what we need at least, so that we can,
Well, I know from experience now, we know that the Killaloe reports were about $170,000,
yeah,
and that was with the grant. So, but you're right, we do not know a price of how much that asphalt would cost on a rink surface, so.
So is council all right with giving Dale that direction? Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're okay touching base with him? Okay.
I would just like to add too that we'd have to account not just the paving, but the construction to get rid of the asphalt that's already on it too.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as well.
Brian's close. He's got lots of track.
He's got a big
Oh.
tractor though, doesn't he? Okay, we're gonna go to a motion to clean home. Doug, everyone?
Moved by Brian Costa,